pretty much if this stays, then usually what happens in California starts trickling to everywhere around America. Am I right or wrong about that, Greg?
Oh, I can tell you already, New Jersey, Massachusetts, they're just standing by to see what happens in these next few days because they're going to launch that as well.
This is not clickbait. You've heard about the AB5 law. If you did not know, how many owner operators right now are leased onto a carrier? You own your own truck, but you work for a carrier. When I worked for North American Van Lines, basically I was an owner operator, but I was leased onto my carrier. So basically in California right now, that is a law that you cannot pretty much do that. So let me think of a big company so you understand. Landstar. All Landstar drivers are owner operators that are leased onto that carrier. Well, Landstar's not in California anymore. And I'm telling you this, in 8 days, on June 24th, the Supreme Court's going to triple check to see what cases they're going to look at. And pretty much, if they don't reopen this case about the AB5 law, and it is already a law, other states are going to do it too. So thousands of owner operators that are leased onto carriers right now in California, they're holding their breath for 8 days. This could be the end of them. I mean, a lot of port workers, this is the way they work. There's a lot of moving companies, this is the way they work. There's a lot of drivers. They own their truck. They don't have their own loads, so they lease onto a carrier, and then they have more business that way. But I'm telling you, I'm here today with Greg. He was the president of the California Trucking Association. Now he's the chairman, but he's here to let you know. So I'm not here to scare you. We're here to really look and talk about these situations as they're happening. You know, I don't even know how this even passed back then, but Mother Truckers, check it out.
Been some people on social media talking about it. A lot of the times, it's a little bit. People feel that it's like a social medias are putting fear into truckers, saying AB5 is going to destroy owner operators. But what is AB5?
Well,
What is that law?
what AB5 does is it's a law that disables a company from working with another business that does the same line of work, whether that's an owner operator working for a trucking company. It disables the business to business relationship if you're in the same line of work. That's what it does. The law passed here in California. We made all the efforts on that end on in the state level for a few years building up to it to squash this. Unfortunately, with the makeup of legislature here in California, it did pass. Here at the CTA, we're able to take that to a federal level and get an injunction in place saying, wait, hold on a second. There's a decision here in California, a decision that's opposite of that in the first circuit court in Massachusetts. We need the feds to come in to look at this and say, okay, like who is right and who is wrong. So that's where we're at here now is we're working under the protection of the preemption that was put in place thanks to the fight of the CTA to say, hold off and let's wait till this is heard in Supreme Court. Now, what you've heard a lot lately is, of course, what the Solicitor General, what her thoughts were on AB5. Because what happens in a big case like this, the Supreme Court justices are sitting back going, okay, we need as much information as we can. Now, we're going to send this over to government and see what the Solicitor General, who, of course, is a presidential appointee, see what their views on it. Well, she just replied with her views. They asked for that about 5 or 6 months ago, something like that. And it just came back. And as we expected, they didn't come back favorable. Her answer was, Supreme Court, don't hear this case. There's a different makeup of it. And of course, there's a bunch of comments made by the Solicitor General that doesn't make a lot of sense, even to the point of saying any of these drivers can become part-time employees and still lease their truck to a company. Well, we know that that's not the way that this world works. When you're an owner-operator, especially an independent owner-operator on your own, you want to have the flexibility to do what you want. You don't want to be a part-time, to be an employee of a company and then lease your truck to them. That's not the way that the business works here on that side of the fence. And So we expected this to come back. It still is in front of the Supreme Court justices. They convene on June 23rd, and they start going through the cases, everything from to human rights to everything that they've got to deal with, and say, what are we going to take up here in this court? Are we going to hear this case? There's 9 Supreme Court justices. 4 of them have to say yes, not 5, 4 of them. 4 of them say yes. We're on the docket. Our case is getting heard. And of course, I'm an optimist. If we make it to that level, I really think we're going to win this year, and AB5 will be shut down. Second part is, if they say no, we're not going to hear this case. AB5 is a law. It's a law of the land. What we've put in place here for the protections in California goes away, and becoming an owner operator is legal. You're working just illegally as an owner operator if you're leased to a company and coming in and out of California. The third thing that could happen is they could look at it if three of four judges say yes, and there's one that's on the edge. They could table it and push it, which is still another good sign. And this would carry on till next year, and we're still working under the protections of what is in place here with our preemption. So that's where
when do we know? So when do we know, Greg, that if they're even going to look at this? What's the date of that?
June 24th, about 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to have my ears peeled to what happens. It could very well push where they won't have a decision until the 27th. The 9 Supreme Court justices they go into a room, and that's of course, with the exception, I think any of you that are going down the road listening to news radio all the time, heard all this talk and how this leaked out of the Supreme Court. That's never happened. That's an exemption. They're in like this sealed room. Nobody can hear a thing. The doors are closed, and they go through this on the 24th to figure out, on the 23rd. And then the 24th at about 6:30 in the morning, there should be an announcement of what they're going to take on the docket here and if our case is going to be heard.
Wow. So pretty much in the next, let me count, about 8 days.
Yeah.
We're going to hear. And for the people that aren't quite understanding this, let me break this down, because I explain things and think about things very simple. Most owner operators aren't owner operators that just have their authority and run and do their own thing. There are a lot of owner operators that are leased onto a company. And so let's give an example, like Landstar. How many thousands of truckers work for Landstar? I believe, tell me if I'm wrong or right, when this happened, Landstar just jumped ship out of California fully, correct?
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that of course, if you had a California-based driver's license with Landstar, you had to move somewhere else, or else you'll cancel your lease and do something different.
Right. And so there are so many truck drivers out there, people that are owner operators that are leased onto carriers. And pretty much if this stays, then usually what happens in California starts trickling to everywhere around America. Am I right or wrong about that, Greg?
Oh, I can tell you already, New Jersey, Massachusetts, they're just standing by to see what happens in these next few days, because they're going to launch that as well.
Oh my gosh. So I'm telling you, people, we're going to have to stay tuned, stay close. But just letting you know that definitely Greg and his team at California Trucking Association, they're doing everything they can. But we're going to be listening closely in the next 8 days. Was it, you said June 24th, 6:30 in the morning?
June 23rd, actually. June 21st. The 23rd they convene. 24th is when we should have a decision. Might push to the 27th. We'll see how that goes.
So we might have 11 days.
Yeah, exactly.
To find out. And the biggest thing is people just know that there's nothing at this moment that we can do. Everything has been done. And so we're going to just be here to wait. Could this honestly be the destruction of people becoming a safer, more transitional route to becoming an owner operator? I would say yes, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is the entry level that I went through to become an owner operator. I was a company driver. I wanted to do things a little bit differently. I wanted to have some ownership, and of course, the pride in ownership here, right? And I went, bought my truck, and leased on to Liberty Line Haul when I was 21 years old with my first truck. So it's the way things are done. Unfortunately, yes, there are some bad actors with some poor models that triggered this. Well,
Right.
they are not the norm, and they shouldn't be painted with a broad brush across the country. So many people are watching right now. So many drivers that take pride in what they do. They got a business acumen. They love the equipment, of course, with it. They have a passion for the industry, and that's what just propels trucking forward. That's what makes us what we are here, right? And there's so many different segments. You can't paint us with a broad brush.
Appreciate your time, Greg. No, thank you so much. This is information you can trust. This is from new title, not the president anymore, but the chairman. Am I correct? What?
Yeah, chairman of the board.
I,
But
I hear you.
I still miss the cab of a truck every day.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, Alex.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Okay.